Alright guys, so earlier today in the afternoon, right, I went to get my car washed. It's this fucking local hand pump car wash thing that only accepts coins. I always go to it. I wash it, like, I wash my car like once a month. Cool. So usually at the start of the month, right? And so I finished rinsing it off and everything. Cool. All clean and shiny. Awesome. Brand new. I get in, right? I drive away. And then fucking 5 minutes later, as I'm sitting at a red light, a fucking bird shits on my roof. So, hey, listen, right? Shout out to that bird. If you're watching this, right, I just want to say fuck you to you and your little bird family. If I ever fucking find you, 10-piece bucket. I'm making you do a fucking 10-piece bucket. Sides, biscuit, drink, everything, right? But anyway, I'm not here to talk about the fucking bird. You know, I've been realizing something, right? So I've been thinking about some shit today. And I want to talk about today, I kind of hate how much I love comfort. Well, okay, again, it's not really that much I hate it. I just feel like it's something that often becomes sort of self-limiting for me. Because here's the thing, right? I find that whenever I sort of find something I enjoy doing, or something I experience that I really enjoyed, I'll just keep going back to that. Which, on paper, it doesn't really sound all that bad, right? It doesn't sound like anything. It's just kind of a fun fact. Everybody likes to do what they, if they've enjoyed something, they like to do it again, right? I mean, but I'm talking everything, right? Restaurants, I keep going back to eat. Food I eat. Books I enjoyed reading as a kid. TV shows and movies I enjoyed, watching as a kid. Anime I enjoyed watching. Fucking using certain heroes in a game I enjoyed playing. A workout routine that I found enjoyable and easy for me to stick to. Right? Things like this. And again, it doesn't sound all that bad, right? Because at the very least, it's consistent, right? I like consistency. But that's the thing, because I almost always default back to things I know I've already done and sort of enjoy doing. And because of that, I rarely ever try new things, which is the self-limiting part. Like, I'm sort of holding myself back from any new possibilities and potentials because of just the comfort I find in doing stuff I know, right? Or again, experiencing something I've already experienced. And this can be anything. I have a pretty recent example, right? So when I was a kid, and I'm talking like grade school, fucking single digits, right? I was really into like mythology and fiction stories, right? At the time, there's this book series. I'm pretty sure everybody knows what it is, but fucking Percy Jackson and Olympians, right? I was basically all that and more, right? It was fucking great. And so I really enjoyed reading the series as a kid. And then later on, the author wrote a fucking sequel called fucking Heroes of Olympus, whatever, right? Also fucking, it was amazing, right? And it was in like middle school. I was in middle school when this happened, which I also really enjoyed. But the thing is, right, so I've read this series basically 4 separate times in essentially 4 separate periods of my life. Like once as a child, once as a young teen, once as a teen, and once, just recently. I'm basically now a grown adult, right? And I guess, again, it doesn't really sound that bad. If you just take it at face value, there's nothing wrong with, all that, right? There's definitely nothing wrong with rewatching or rereading a media you've enjoyed, right? Everybody does that, But it's like I said, this trend happens with everything I do. And I feel it's a double-edged sword. Because on the one hand, I know what I like. And I'm pretty consistent about it. That's a good thing. Because I know what I like, which gives me some clarity on, what kind of person I know I am and the stuff I enjoy that makes me, well, like me, right? But on the flip side, because I'm constantly going back to those sort of same things I've already done, I do feel like sometimes it limits me from trying new things or sort of expanding my experiences and knowledge, right? And it's sort of a strange thing because it is really something where I feel has any sort of negative effects or impact on me whatsoever in the short term or in the present while I'm doing, whatever it is that I've probably done 100 times over, right? For example, I just don't feel like I don't feel like I'm doing anything bad, right? If that makes sense. Maybe I'm not doing anything bad, but sometimes, again, like I said, I feel like I'm shortening myself in the long run by sort of constantly spending so much time and effort on things that I've already done and sort of learned and know I've done. And maybe there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not really sure. I'm not doing anything wrong or hurting anyone, right? But I do think there is some truth in it where sort of the comfort that drives me to always go back to what I know sort of limits me from progression and overall growth as a person, because that's where the real growth and progression and change comes in, right? It's going out to put yourself in more uncomfortable situations and sort of experiences, and from that you can kind of build something new, right? Sort of expand. And the thing is, a lot of times, right, when I'll be doing the same things over and over, it doesn't really feel like I'm just bashing my head against the wall and doing the same shit, right? For example, I don't know, let's say gaming, right? 我们在打王者的时候, they're playing the same hero over and over and over in a game, right? Sure, it's the same hero, right? It's the same mechanics every time, but it almost feels like every time I play the hero, it's a slightly different experience. It's something new. It's not quite the same. It is the same, not really, but it almost feels like every time I play it, right, it's a different experience. It's something new. I'm sharpening my skills, right? Again, it's the same, but each time is slightly different. And I feel like the accumulation of all those slight differences, doing something over and over, leads to mastery and better understanding of it. Which, again, that's just a gaming example. But I also feel like that kind of really applies to everything. And I'm talking everything, right? Cooking and eating the same favorite foods. You know, I'll fucking listen to the same song over and over again, right? Same fucking music. I'll rewatch the same fucking anime over and over again, you know, once every year or something. And, you know, maybe that makes me boring, right? Maybe I'm a fucking boring person. I don't really know. But I like it. I find comfort in it. And maybe it's that very same comfort, again, that's limiting my progression. That's probably true, which is why I kind of hate it. Well, what the fuck, man. But at the same time, I don't really know if it's something that I can change or even should change, right? Because I've always kind of been like this. I'm not really sure why. I don't know if it's laziness. I don't know. But again, it's just double-edged sword, right? But anyway, at the end of the day, listen, right? You know, life's too short to be on some bullshit, like I've said before. Everybody lives their own life in their own way, right? I do think at the end of the day, as long as you're not hurting anybody, which, yes, includes not hurting yourself. That is very important. That is actually the most important, right? But I think, you know, whatever you do outside of that is just whatever you do. You know, I do think it's very important to sort of, like I said, expand and constantly try to push yourself to do new things and put yourself in, you know, unfamiliar situations and environments to sort of, just sort of, you know, learn things, right? Because that's where the real growth comes in, you know, skills, experiences, relationships, people, anything, right? But sometimes it can be a bit tiring. Things can be a bit much. And at the end of the day, at least for me personally, when nobody's watching and I don't have to put on a filter for anybody, I default to what I know. And I find the comfort in most things that I know I've already experienced and enjoyed. And I guess that's okay. You know, I guess it's okay. Everybody lives their life differently. I just enjoy comfort a lot. It is what it is.